As you may know, Hitler and Stalin signed a pact of non-aggression, the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, and Hitler was the one who violated the pact in June 1941 when he invaded the Soviet Union with his armies. However, did you know that it was actually Stalin who violated the pact first? Keep watching to find out. And welcome back, regular viewers. If you're new, my name is Stefan. I'm a history teacher from the Netherlands. I like to hustle history on location. And if you like that as well, consider subscribing, hit the notification bell to join the hustle. Let's start. When the First World War broke out, the Austrian-Hungarians and the Germans were fighting against the Russians, and the Russians were driven out of Bukovina in 1917. However, 1 year later, the Austrian-Hungarian Empire collapsed. Two states laid claim on Bukovina, the Kingdom of Romania and the newly created West Ukrainian People's Republic. The West Ukrainian People's Republic was a newly created state that got into a war with Poland, which was known as the Polish-Ukrainian War 1918-1919. The Romanians also joined in on the side of the Poles and eventually proclaimed victory, and thus Bukovina became a part of the Kingdom of Romania. During the interwar years, Romanians were dominating ethnic Ukrainians, and this led to tensions, especially in the north of Bukovina, since the Ukrainians formed a majority there. Ukrainian public schools were closed, although I read that private schools were allowed to exist. The Romanians suppressed Ukrainian culture, although they didn't crack down as hard on Ukrainian culture as the Poles did in the regions of Volhynia and Galicia. Still, on this university, the Ukrainian language became forbidden and Ukrainian professors were fired. In August 1939, Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union signed the infamous Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. It was a pact of non-aggression where they agreed they would not wage war on each other. Also, spheres of influence were decided, and with this, the fates of Poland, the Baltic states, and as it turned out Finland, and parts of Romania were sealed. On June 26, 1940, Soviet Foreign Minister Vyacheslav Molotov gave an ultimatum to the Romanians, where they demanded immediate control of the Romanian territories of Bessarabia, current Moldova, and North Bukovina. Wait, what? That was not in the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. Exactly, but the Soviets, they demanded control of North Bukovina anyway, because they saw this as a compensation for the suffering of all these Slavic people in Bessarabia under Romanian rule during the interwar years, and also because of its many ethnic Ukrainians that, according to the Soviets, belonged to the Soviet Union. Now, prior to that day, Soviet troops were informed that they had to move in if the Romanians would reject the ultimatum. Now, eventually a second ultimatum followed the day after. The Romanian government consulted the Italian and German ambassadors, and they both said, for the sake of peace, Romania had to submit to the demands of the Soviets. The Germans did express their concerns about the many ethnic Germans that would now live under Soviet rule, but apart of that, they did not make a fuss about it. And thus, on the morning of the 28th of June, Romanian troops left the territories. Also, an estimated 70,000 Romanians moved with them, since they did not want to live under Soviet rule. In the following month, an estimated 100,000 to 150,000 people moved from Romania to the now Soviet-controlled territories, and these were, for a large part, Jews. And before you start commenting and think about this theory of Judeo-Bolshevism and that Jewry and Bolshevism are intertwined, no. See, the Jews experienced waves of anti-Semitism in Romania. Anti-Semitism was there on the rise, and thus it was for them about survival, and that's why they moved to the Soviet-controlled territories. North Bukovina was incorporated in the Ukrainian Socialist Soviet Republic, and what we saw here were the same tragedies that occurred in eastern Poland and the Baltic states. Countless of people, thousands upon thousands, were prosecuted on groundless political charges by the Soviets. think of members of the bourgeois, educated people, were deported by the masses to Siberia or executed. It resulted into a large stream of refugees, and even after the border was closed, people still tried to cross the border from the Soviet-controlled territories to Romania. It led to a tragedy at Fontana Alba, where people tried to cross the border and run into Soviet and KVD troops, who then started to fire indiscriminately at the crowd, killing many. Estimations go up from 200 to 2,000. Also, Romanian border guards had fired and killed people who tried to cross the border from Romania to the Soviet-controlled territories. After the Soviet annexations, it led to a rise of anti-communism and anti-Semitism inside Romania. And eventually, it drove Romania in the arms of Nazi Germany. Romania became one of the Axis powers. Now, if you want to know more about Romania during the Second World War, you can click right here. If you want to know more about Moldova, Bessarabia, you can click right here. Also check me out on Patreon, on Instagram, and do not forget to subscribe. See you later.